Welcome to this short revision video on how to approach English language paper 1, and specifically we're looking at question 3, which is the language and structure question. This question on this text, which is based on The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, reads, in lines 20 to 25, how does the writer use language and structure to show the change in the narrator's mood? Support your views with reference to the text. So the first thing that I suggest that you do is note what lines we're dealing with. So here we've got lines 20 to 25, and make it clear on the extract which lines you are focusing on. Second thing that I would like to point out is that you should only spend 15 minutes on this question. It's a 6-mark question, and the questions later on in the paper are much more important, so please only spend 15 minutes on the language and structure question on paper 1. Just to make it easier for you to see, I have got a copy of the paragraph in question that we're dealing with here. And as you can see, the question on the top says in lines 20 to 25, how does the writer use language and structure to show the change in the narrator's mood? So again, focusing on the question, we are looking for the change in the narrator's mood. What I'd like you to do now, please, is pause this video and spend a couple of minutes trying to quickly annotate this extract, looking at both language and structural devices. So please make sure you try and identify both. So please pause this video now and have a look at what you can find. Okay, well, hopefully you've been able to find a few different techniques, both language and structure. And just another little tip for you, it's really important that you discuss both language and structure. This is a 6-mark question, but if you only discuss either language or structure, you can only achieve a maximum of 2 out of 6 marks. So please make sure when you're annotating your extract in the exam that you're picking out both language and structural devices. Okay, here we've got a copy that has been briefly annotated, and we can see that initially it starts off with 3 short sentences. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was singularly at ease. And these short sentences present the narrator as being in control and being quite happy and confident at this point. That continues when he says, they sat, and while I answered cheerily, they chatted of familiar things. So here you would note the adverb cheerily, suggesting how he was answering the question. So he is very happy and confident at this point. The narrator is not worried. And the verb chatted gives connotations of having kind of a polite, friendly, informal conversation, as opposed to him feeling interrogated by the police at this point. So the adverb cheerily and the verb chatted suggests that the narrator feels very, very confident, happy and at ease at the start. Before I move on, I would like to point out to you that the examiners love to see you analyse individual word choices. So if you are able to comment on the adverb cheerily or the verb chatted and the connotations that they bring about, that is often an indicator of higher level responses. So if you are looking to be achieving 5 or 6 marks out of 6, you may need to try and analyse the connotations and impact of individual word choices. So the text continues along. Obviously he's feeling very confident and happy at the start, but then we have a change of tone with the conjunction but, and that often brings about a change in tone. So that conjunction but, ere long I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached and I fancied a ringing in my ears, but still they sat and still chatted. So again, we can see this slight change of tone after the but, and he admits that my head ached. So you could look at that verb, quite a strong verb choice there to make it quite clear that the narrator is now feeling some physical pain. I fancied a ringing in my ears, but still they sat and still chatted. So the repetition of still there, and it's a type of parallelism also, still they sat and still chatted, suggests that he's becoming a little bit uncomfortable with the police officers. Whereas at the start, he mentions how he was answering cheerily and he was chatting with them. Now he feels a little bit uncomfortable. Still they sat and still they chatted. Then we have quite a long, complex sentence to finish off this extract, and it is, the ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained definiteness, until, at length, I found that the noise was not within my ears. Here we have a contrast with the opening of the extract, where we pointed out that there was lots of short sentences being used, which showed that the narrator is in control. And it ends with quite a long, complex sentence with, again, you can see all of the different types of punctuation used. We've got colon, another colon, 3 colons used, dash, commas, etc. So quite a long, complex sentence. And this helps to replicate the narrator's mood, which is now panicking and overthinking the situation. So that's quite a clear contrast to earlier in the extract, where the short sentences are used to suggest the control that he has over the situation. You can see within what we have discussed already, we have a range of both language and structure. So in terms of structural techniques, you could comment on the contrast between the short sentences at the start, showing his control and composure, and the longer complex sentence at the end, which shows a contrast and replicates his panicking and overthinking. We also have repetition of the ringing that he's hearing and repetition of still they sat and still chatted. In terms of language devices, you would be looking at the adverb cheerily and the verb chatted initially at the start, which helped to show his calmness and his composure and the fact that he's quite happy at the start. But then also that begins to change further down with my head ached. So we have that verb choice as well. Remembering some of the tips that I've been mentioning to you, the examiners love to see you analyse individual word choices. You must discuss a range of both language and structural devices. Only spend 15 minutes on this question and try to regularly keep linking back to the wording of the question. In terms of revision, you need to revise all of your language and structural devices and practice annotating small unseen extracts. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful.